Welcome, everybody. Week 7 edition of the Best Effin' Fantasy Show, live from the basement. I am your host, Steve Albertini, joined by the Monstars of fantasy football, little Coolio reference, Joey Del Mastro, gallivanting with Felix Jones somewhere, his big pickup of the week. We'll get into that a little bit later. Terry Procopio, Carmen Del Mastro, our producer Nick Specca. Back-to-back weeks with our special guest, Nick DiNardo. Going to drop some knowledge, hopefully, on all you guys this week.
Salud.
Sake, man, you amateur.
Busy week in the NFL. If you're like me, you're getting killed with bye weeks. 6 teams on bye. A lot of guys are in a lot of lineups. Atlanta and that passing attack. Denver, Kansas City, Miami, Philadelphia, and San Diego. So plan accordingly. Take notes from what you hear today, and hopefully we can help you out going forward this week. Going to jump right in. Week 6 was a big week for good and bad reasons, fantasy-wise. We're going to start with a couple big injuries, none bigger than DeMarco Murray having a nice game in the first half against Baltimore, and then goes down. Definitely out this week, possibly an extended absence from the team. Felix Jones is the guy there. Jerry, you have anything to add?
Not really. He's the guy that you must pick up, especially if you're a Murray owner. Over the next few weeks, he has some favorable matchups. Carolina, Giants, Atlanta, Philadelphia. They're all pretty easy run defenses. So
something I just want to throw in there. Don't sleep on Philip Tanner. You know, he's a better running back than Felix Jones, in my opinion. He's just going to be a guy that if Felix messes up once, he drops the ball. Don't be surprised if Philip Tanner goes in there and vultures some touches away from Felix.
Yeah,
they play a rough, they play it easy, like you said. Couple of games coming up against, bad rushing defenses. Don't be surprised if Phil Tanner's the guy that gets more carries.
And let's not forget, Felix Jones isn't a guy that is coming out of nowhere that everyone's waiting for him to explode. Felix Jones has been on the scene for a long time. He's had plenty of opportunities in this offense. So, he's got some favorable matchups, but I would temper expectations a little bit. I wouldn't expect him to carry you.
We've seen what Felix Jones has done with his opportunities.
Absolutely.
He's squandered quite a bit of them. So
he's not very durable either. Even last week he got banged up a little bit, missed some time. But I think he's a must pick up though if you have DeMarco.
Must add, facing Carolina this week, good matchup. But temper your expectations going forward. Trent Richardson having a really nice rookie year. Got banged up a little bit this week. Montario Hardesty filled in for him, scored a touchdown. How do you feel about Hardesty going forward if Richardson has to miss any time?
Well, Trent Richardson doesn't play this week. There's no better matchup to use Hardesty. They're playing a defense that gave up the 4th most points to running backs over the first 6 weeks. And
we saw what Sean Green did to them last week.
Exactly. That was just one big mirage. I would sell him high.
How high?
Real high. Sell him right now.
A couple more injury notes here. Kevin Kolb, who was filling in nicely the last couple weeks as the quarterback in Arizona, is going down. Missing a couple weeks. John Skelton comes back in. You're not going to run out and go pick up Skelton, I'm assuming, but for Fitzgerald owners, how should Fitzgerald owners feel now that Skelton's back?
Well, this week, I think Skelton's going to have a rough time. They're facing a really good Minnesota pass rush. They got 27 sacks over the last 4 weeks. Fitz is going to obviously struggle a little bit, but he's still going to be productive nonetheless. You're not going to sit him.
A couple big performances this week. We already talked about Sean Green and what you think of him going forward. The Packers finally showed us who we thought they were all season long. Without Greg Jennings, absolutely put on an offensive show in Houston on Sunday night. Jordy Nelson was the main beneficiary of that, besides Aaron Rodgers, of course. Are the Packers back? The Packers haven't had any bad games, so to speak. With the exception of maybe Seattle. Are the Packers back in their 2011 form, would you say?
If you have someone on the Packers, like we were talking about, you can't freak out because they're guys. They're going to produce. Rodgers, Jordy, Jennings when he comes back. Cobb now, he's going to produce. James Jones is going to produce. All these guys, they're going to produce. The only one I wouldn't trust in the offense is Finley.
Yeah.
So, if you were patient enough to stick with them, then you're fine. Just keep doing what you're doing, and they're going to produce week in and week out.
Now, if you're a Jennings owner, are you encouraged by this, that you think that once Jennings comes in, he's going to just fall in line and he'll get production, or do you think that like guys like Cobb and Jones, who were behind Jennings, by a lot on the depth chart, are now going to cut into his production significantly?
No, I don't think so. But Jordy's the number one receiver on that
Yeah.
team. But I think Jennings, when he comes back, he's definitely going to be a starter. They're going to use Cobb a lot. Jennings, if he comes back and he's healthy, he's going to be on that field more than Jones and Cobb.
Mm-hmm. Another guy that's been debated ad nauseum on this show is Des Bryant. Finally had his breakout game of the year. We have 11 catches.
He had 12 catches.
12 catches, 2 touchdowns. Is this what
drop 2-point conversion though?
drop 2-point conversion, which
We
I'm
don't
sure.
give a shit about that.
Yeah, we don't care, but I'm sure all the Dallas fans care a lot. Des Bryant going forward, is this what we can expect? Is he the guy in Dallas, especially now with the banged up DeMarco Murray?
As for now, I don't know. I would keep him because, like we said, this was the year we expected him to break out. Given down the line, he's probably going to have some down games, but I do see him producing at a consistent level. Probably not this high.
I mean,
and I think it started last week.
There's no reason why he shouldn't be producing like that every week, but this is another week. It's a weird week because Carolina, they've given up the 28th most points to opposing wide receivers. They don't give that much through the air. It's mostly on the ground. So, he had the big week last week. Let's see if he can follow it up with another one this week against somewhat of a decent passing defense here.
Would you agree, though, that over the long haul he's going to, if not already, be the number one option in that offense?
He should be.
He
but
has to be.
There's the thing. It all depends on if they trust him, and do you have the confidence to keep plugging him in week in and week out, which you're going to. So it all depends.
Yeah, I sat him last week and lost, so kind of kicking myself. But I didn't expect much out of him.
Jared, speaking of kicking yourself, how do you feel about another great RG3 performance this week?
Oh, he's amazing. I'm sold on him.
You're sold on
I'm
him?
sold on him now. So I think he might struggle this week a little bit at New York.
Yeah, he's finally going to get into
Yeah,
the
we'll see what
division
happens over
schedule.
there. Division.
Regardless, RG3's been nothing short of incredible so far.
Another injury. How about Java Best done for the year?
Irrelevant. Next
Yeah.
question.
Well, it's relevant because you think, Michael LaSure and
I
Jock
don't think
Bell
Java was going to get that much time anyway.
Yeah.
Coming back.
just makes you feel better about.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
about
If you drafted and stashed LaSure, I mean, you pretty much made out like a bandit. And then the next few weeks, the Lions' schedule's tough. They play the Bears, Seattle, Jacksonville, Minnesota. But every game after that, going into the playoffs, really easy run defenses. So I would stay patient with them. And actually, over the next few weeks, if I don't expect them to do that well on the ground, you might actually be able to buy low on them, save them for the playoffs.
Breaking news coming into the Best F and Fantasy show. Nick, go ahead, Nick.
We got news from ESPN that DeMarco Murray, he's telling teammates that he expects to fully play Week 8 versus the Giants, so maybe the injury's not that serious. I would still keep Felix Jones, though, just in case.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you have to.
You never put all your stock into what a player says.
Right, and that completely makes Philip Tanner irrelevant.
You're irrelevant, Jerk.
I'm just playing.
You'll get 2 solid
I'm
weeks
just
out of
playing.
Felix Jones. That's all you'll need.
Yeah.
Who else do you have pickup-wise this week to fill in for some of these bye weeks?
Brandon Gibson, most targeted Rams receiver. I was off last week on my who the F guy. But he looks like the guy that's filling in pretty good in Amendola's place. Also, Stephen Hill. He scored last week. The yards weren't big, but who are the Jets going to throw to? He's the most talented wide receiver on the team. Even though he's still young, he has a lot to learn. Who are they going to throw to, though?
Against New England this week.
Yeah, New England's pass defense is nothing scary.
No.
And they're not going to run the ball.
Some other big injuries this week. Going back to that Baltimore-Dallas game, Ray Lewis and Ladarius Webb, both done for the year. Baltimore owners, Baltimore defense, special teams owners, take note of that. Jerry, you got any defenses maybe you could plug in?
Raiders home against the Jaguars. Raiders, they got 3 picks against Ryan last week. They got Blaine Gabbert at home. Could be a nice fill-in. Also, Vikings, they're playing home against, and they got 26 sacks over the last 4 weeks. And
They're a much better team at home.
They're a great team at home.
All right. We'll be right back with our Legends and Jerkoffs for Week 7. everyone, to the Week 7 edition of the Best 7 Fantasy Show. The juices are flowing right now in the basement. It's getting heated, just like the coaching hot seats in Philadelphia and San Diego. Up top, guys.
Oh.
There it is. Anyway, fire Andy, fire North. Tweet us at Best Effin' Show. Check out the website, besteffinfantasyshow.com. It's that part of the show where we give you our legends and jerk-offs for Week 7, our version of studs, duds, and sleepers. Jared, why don't you start off with some legends for this week?
My first one, I just mentioned them in pickups. Brandon Whedon, like I said, Indianapolis secondary is horrendous. I think they're going to be throwing all game. Richardson, I don't think he's going to play. He's going to have a nice game. Keep going, right? All right, my next one, Chris Johnson. Didn't score yet this year, but
slow clap for Chris Johnson.
This is it.
Everybody.
This is definitely it.
It's got to be it.
After 5 weeks
Playing
now.
Buffalo, I think he has his breakout game. Big breakout game. My next one, Doug Martin.
I'll be a Doug.
New Orleans run defense is bad. This is his breakout game. I'm going to continue. Receiver, Denarius Moore, broke out last week. Jags have a solid run defense. I think Palmer's going to be passing. He's going to look to Moore a lot in this game. My last one, Fred Davis. He's been coming on. Giants aren't good against the tight end. I think he scores this week.
I like where your head's at.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to go with my Week 7, Deadly 7, mid-tier legends.
7 legends.
As like we always like to do here with my legends, it's always for the ladies.
60% of the time, it works every time.
Thanks, Brian. So we're going to start off with Mike Williams versus New Orleans. Saints giving up the 3rd most to opposing wideouts. Kendall Wright at Buffalo. Buffalo giving up the 5th most points to opposing wideouts. Also like Kenny Britt in there. And we're going to go with Stephen Hill. We touched on him earlier. Jerry had a lot to say on him. I like what he said. They're at New England. Another bad passing defense. Stephen Hill's, he's also a nice pickup, so go ahead pick him up if you're in need for that wideout this week. Then we're going to go with Cecil Shorts at Oakland. Oakland, another lackluster passing defense. I know they played well in Atlanta last week, but I have a feeling Cecil's going to have a quality outing this week, especially he's going to be replacing Lauren Robinson in the lineup. Then we're just going to ride the hot hand with Josh Gordon at Indy. I mean, that's what we like to do as fantasy guys, ride the hot hand. Then we go Brandon Gibson at Green Bay. The Rams are going to need to put up points against Green Bay, so I see Gibson having a nice game. And my last one, my Thursday night special, Randy Moss against Seattle. They're going to have to find a way to get some points. The Niners are against Seattle, so I see Moss and I see a new running game with Kendall Hunter in that lineup this week. Thursday night special.
I love it.
All right.
Randy Moss did take the top off the defense once last
And then he
week.
got up and he was like,
Yeah.
And then they pulled him right back
and then
inside.
they put Colin Kaepernick in the game, and he was doing fake handoffs to no one in the back.
And for our jerk-offs of the week, we'll go right to Jerry to start us off.
Here we go.
I need to get some stats.
All right, my first one. Like you said, the Niners are going to have to be playing. I think Frank Gore struggles against Seattle's run defense. Next one, we talked about him earlier. I think Larry Fitz struggles in this game with Skelton having Minnesota's pass rush all over him. Next one, Sean Green isn't doing anything against New England this week. Last one, Matt Stafford. Chicago's pass defense has been coming on. They're coming off a bye. I would set Stafford this week if you have better options.
I mean, Matthew really hasn't been anything special
It's been a
all
jerk off.
season.
He hasn't, but he had a decent game last week, so I think owners were.
I mean, he
Kinda
ran
like-
one and he threw one.
If he drafted him
Still,
high,
yeah,
you got
which would have been
fucked.
awesome if he was a bye-week fill-in and not a second-round pick.
Still, people are going to start him.
Of course they're going to start.
They're going to
Monday
start him,
night,
but
you want that miracle, you start him.
all right, I would start Brandon Whedon over Stafford. I would start Josh Freeman, who's probably on a lot of waivers, over Stafford this
What
week.
about Joe
But
Flacco?
whatever you want to do.
Nothing but
Flacco.
bold.
Flacco?
Yes.
I don't like Flacco this week.
Yeah, they did.
All about being bold here at the Best Ever Fantasy Show.
You got to take chances.
Carm, who you got as some jerk-offs for this week?
Yeah.
All right, my first
Keep
jerk off is
going.
Michaela Shore at Chicago. Bears another stellar run defense. They're giving up the 30th least
Mr. Clapp.
to opposing running backs. My second one was Frank Gore. Thanks, Jared. Another steal by you. Appreciate that. Then we got Steve Smith at Dallas. He's going to get the Brandon Carr treatment. And I still can't trust Cam Newton throwing the ball. And we got Jermichael Finley at the Rams. Just too many weapons, not enough hose on that Packers defense. For that
Another
Packers
big-time
offense.
Jay.
And my last one, Mr. RG3 himself.
Oh.
At the Giants, going big time. Primetime matchup for him. Show me what you got, kid. Let's see how he responds to that Giants pass rush this week. That's all we got.
Now the part of the show everyone's been waiting for. The much anticipated. Who the is that sleepers for week 7? Jared, I know you got a lot, so why don't you start us off?
My first one, Cedric Pierman. Figure with Bernard Scott out for the year. He got a lot of time last week. He got 7 catches for like 85 yards last week. But they were playing from behind. With Scott out for the year, he's going to see more time, especially on passing downs.
Nice.
My next one, Matthew Mulligan. You know, tight end for the Rams.
What calls you good, Jared?
Who the F is that?
He got 5 looks last week. Came up with 2.
What the f*** are you doing?
But I think he gets it done this week.
No!
I got it,
All right, my last one, Tequan Underwood, Tampa's new deep threat. He's going to make some plays against New Orleans this week.
Tequan Underwood.
Really feeling the Tampa Bay Bucks this week, right?
I am.
All facets of the offense.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to be a normal
And
human
why
being,
wouldn't you?
and I'm only going to throw out one. I'm going to throw out, not to be confused with hanging with or Riley Cooper. I'm going to go with Josh Cooper,
That's the guy that you shoot.
wide receiver for the Browns. Got his first start last week. Already started to develop a nice rapport with Whedon and Jer, in case you didn't know, because I know you're not a stat guy. Colts have allowed 5 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks to opposing wideouts.
But this guy's not a starter.
Stop hating on me, Jared.
I'm not hating. What is he, 4th string?
Jared, you're 4th string right now with the way you've been going this year.
Okay.
Like this in the background. What the f*** is it with you?
Okay.
And we'll be right back to take some questions. Welcome back, everybody. It's Week 7 edition, Best F in Fantasy Show. Live from the basement, as always. It's time for the question segment of the show. Throughout the week, always tweet us your questions at Best F and Show. Shoot us an email, bestfnfantasyshow.com. Like us on Facebook. Always feel free to post comments or questions there. We'd love to help you out with your lineups for this week. I'm going to pass it along to our producer, Nick Specca, who has the first question.
Alright, first question comes from at NYCmoney123. It's a basic question. He said, what the f*** do I do with Philip Rivers?
Does he not have any other quarterbacks?
We're going to assume no, he has no other player on his team, just Philip Rivers.
One quarterback.
Well, I don't know. We talked about a few quarterbacks earlier that could be better this week, especially. You can't really trade
What
him.
about long term?
He's a matchup play.
He has good
Yeah,
matchups
he's-
coming
he's
for
a
him.
matchup.
That's what he's going to do. He's going to be Rivers. He's going to throw 2-3 touchdowns a game, but he's going to throw his interceptions. You
Yeah.
take the good with the bad with the guy.
You need to pick up one of the other guys that you guys mentioned earlier and swap him in and out.
Take the
I
good
think
with
the
the bad.
days of Rivers being an elite fantasy quarterback it's not in 2012.
He had one good year.
Speaking of good, our next question comes from Softball Jesus. God bless.
For Jesus.
He's back.
We got to answer this good. All right, we helped him out last week. We got to do it again. He has a trade proposal. DMC in Stafford, and he gets back Ray Rice, Big Ben, and Big Deshaun, Axon Jackson.
100% you do that. Big Ben's been so much better than Stafford this year. Ray Rice is
Better than DMC.
better than DMC, yeah.
And Deshaun's
And you get Deshaun
bonus.
for free. You kidding me?
It's a great league he's in.
Agreed.
Do it, Jesus.
Our next question comes from at the Dolia, and he wants to know: should I start Nate Washington or Kenny Britt?
Kenny Britt.
Kenny Britt.
100%.
Nate Washington's chemistry is much better with Jake Locker than with Matthew Hasselbeck.
6 of his last 8 touchdowns have come from Jake Locker.
Nate
Absolutely.
Washington.
Rewatching.
He's getting his looks
Yeah,
too.
well, I mean, everybody got in on the action last week. Britt scored. Kendall Wright had a decent game, so
Yeah, but Kenny Britt's the guy.
yeah.
We have another wide receiver question. It's from
Excellent.
at the Phillip, and he wants to know: should I start Torrey Smith at Houston or Mike Williams at New Orleans?
I think you go with Mike Williams. I mean, though, Torrey Smith, I don't. You know what? That is a tough question. I think Mike Williams is going to get more looks than Torrey Smith does in this game.
Torrey Smith's like the big play. He can get that one bomb.
Yeah, but he is hit or miss nonetheless.
So you're thinking Mike Williams.
I think Mike Williams.
Mike Williams on paper has the better matchup.
He has the
obviously,
better matchup.
But, I mean, Torrey Smith
You
been pretty solid all
can't
year.
go wrong with him either. But I think.
And
Mike
we
Williams
saw
has
what
the bigger
Jordy
game.
Nelson did to the Texans
Yeah,
secondary
that's
last
true.
week.
So you're telling Mike Williams.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I'm taking into consideration, I think Flacco's going to suck in this game.
Houston
That's what I think.
Houston's
high
A
on
lot of
that
pressure
team.
from J.J. Watt.
J.J. Watt.
swatting balls
Beast.
everywhere.
He's going to be wearing them.
All right.
Boy blossomed.
That's all the questions I have. I'm going to send it back to Steve.
All right, thanks, Nick. Good luck to everybody in your Week 7 matchups this week. As always, tweet us with any questions or comments you have throughout the week. Be happy to help you out at Best Effin' Show. Check out the website. Check out the rankings for this week. Good luck. See you in Week 8.
You're gonna be